Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hey, Bola Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Bola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Bola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Bola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Bola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Bola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hey, Bola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Bola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Ram Ram Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Bolo Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Ram Ram Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Bolo Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Ram Ram Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Bol,
Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare, Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare, Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda,
Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hey, bolo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Bolo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Bolo Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama Rama,
Hare Hare,
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 Bolo Hare Hare,
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 Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna,
Hey, bolo Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Bolo
Hare,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Bol.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Bolo Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Hare Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj ki jai. Gaur Premanande, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. So tonight, we're going to hear from Elevation to Krishna Consciousness, and chapter 2, which is entitled Hard Struggle for Happiness. That's a good, very good title. Hard Struggle for Happiness. In the revealed scriptures, the Supreme Lord is described as Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Sat means eternity, Chit means knowledge, Ananda means transcendental happiness, and Vigraha means the condition of Sat Chitananda. Sat means eternal. Chit means full cognizance. Ananda means joyful, and Vigraha means that he is a person. Thus the Lord, or the Supreme Godhead, who is one without a second, is a fully cognizant and eternally joyful personality with a full sense of his identity. No one is equal to him or greater than him. This is a concise description of the Supreme Lord. The living entities, called jivas, are minute samples of the Supreme Lord, and being so, they therefore find in their activities the desire for eternal existence, for complete knowledge, and for happiness. These desires are evident in human society and in the upper planetary systems, Swargaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Brahmaloka, etc. The living entities enjoy a longer duration of life, an increased amount of knowledge, and a generally more blissful existence. But even in the highest planet in this material world, where the duration of life and standard of enjoyment are thousands and thousands of times greater than on earth, there is still old age, disease, and death. Consequently, the level of enjoyment is insignificant in comparison to the eternal bliss enjoyed in the company of the Supreme Lord. Loving service for the Supreme Lord is different. Relationships make even the enjoyment of impersonal Brahman as insignificant as a drop of water in comparison to the ocean. Every living being desires the topmost level of enjoyment in this material world, and yet everyone is unhappy here. This unhappiness is present on all the higher planets. Despite a longer lifespan, higher standards of enjoyment and comfort. That is due to the law of material nature. We can increase the duration of life and standard to the highest capacity, and yet, by the law of material nature, we will be unhappy. The reason for this is that the quality of happiness is suitable for our which is suitable for our constitution, is different from the happiness which is derived from material activities. The living entity is a minute particle of the supreme spiritual energy of the Lord, which is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha, and therefore he has the unnecessary propensity for joy, which is spiritual in quality. Unfortunately for him, she is trying vainly to attain his enjoyment from the foreign atmosphere of material nature. A fish that is taken out of the water cannot be happy by any arrangement on land. He must be supplied with water. Jai Shri Radha Nilamadhava Ki Jai. In the same way, the minute Satchitananda living entity cannot really be happy through any amount of planning conceived by his illusioned brain in this material universe. He must therefore be given a different type of happiness, which is spiritual in essence. Our ambition should be aimed at enjoying spiritual bliss and not this temporary material happiness. Some philosophers claim that spiritual bliss is attained by negating material happiness, not material existence. Their theoretical negation of material activities, as propounded by Sripad Sankaracharya, may be effective for an insignificant section of mankind, but the best and surest way for everyone to attain spiritual bliss was propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by means of devotional activities. These devotional activities can change the very face of material nature. Hankering after material happiness is called lust, and lusty activities are sure to meet with frustration in the long run. The body of a snake is very cool, but if a man wanting to enjoy this coolness garlands himself with a venomous snake, he will surely be killed by the snake's venomous bite. The material senses are compared to snakes. Indulgence in material happiness will surely kill our spiritual identity. Therefore, a sane man should be ambitious to find the real source of happiness. In order to find this source of happiness, however, we need some knowledge of what that happiness is. There is the story of the foolish man who had no experience with sugarcane. When he asked his friend about the characteristics of sugarcane, he was imperfectly informed that sugarcane resembles the shape of a bamboo stick. Consequently, he began trying to extract juice from the bamboo sticks, but naturally, he was baffled in his attempts. This is the situation with the illusioned living entity who, in his search for eternal happiness, tries to extract happiness from the material world, which is not only full of miseries, but is also transient and flickering. In Bhagavad Gita, the material world is described as being full of miseries. Abrahma bhuvanal loka punar avartinarijana mam upetya tukonteya punar janma namvidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, where repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Bhagavad Gita 8.16. This is a statement by Krishna himself. The ambition for happiness is natural and good, but the attempt to derive it from inert matter by so-called scientific arrangements is an illusory attempt, doomed to frustration. Those who are befooled cannot understand this. How a person is driven by the lust for material happiness is also described in Bhagavad Gita. Idam adya maya labdam, imam prapsyase manoratam, idam astidam apime bhavisyati punardanam. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. This atheistic or godless civilization is a huge affair contrived for the gratification of our senses. And now we are all mad or crazy after money in order to maintain this empty shell. Money is sought after by everyone because that is the medium of exchange for objects for sense gratification. Obviously, the expectation of peace is such, and in such an atmosphere of gold rush, pandemonium is a utopian dream. As long as there is the slightest tinge of sense gratification or desire for sense gratification, peace will remain far, far away. This is because by nature we are all eternal servants of the Supreme Lord, and therefore cannot enjoy anything for our personal interests. It is therefore necessary for us to learn how to employ our senses in the transcendental service of the Lord, Krishna. and to utilize everything to serve Lord Krishna's interest. This alone can bring about much desired peace. A part of the body cannot in itself be independently happy. It can only derive its happiness and pleasure out of serving the entire body. The Supreme Lord is the whole, and we are the parts. But we are all busily engaged in activities of self-interest. No one is prepared to serve the Lord. This is the basic cause for our conditioning in material existence and for our resultant unhappiness. From the high skyscraper office down, even the cultivation of spiritual realization for one's own self or own service or own interest is unlawful and destructive. The point is that all activities must be directed to the satisfaction of Krishna and his service. Those who are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord wrongfully think that they are accumulating so much money day after day. Being bound by hundreds and thousands of desires, by lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Consequently, although there is no lack of money in the world, there is a scarcity of peace. So much human energy is being diverted to making money for the general population has increased its capacity to make more and more dollars. But in the long run, the result is that this unrestricted and unlawful monetary inflation has created a bad economy all over the world and has provoked us to manufacture huge and costly weapons to destroy the very result of such cheap money-making. The leaders of the big money-making countries are not really enjoying peace, but are making plans to save themselves from imminent destruction by nuclear weapons. In fact, huge sums of money are being thrown into the sea by way of experiments, and these dreadful weapons, such experiments are being carried out not only at huge costs, but also at the cost of many lives. In this way, the nations are being bound by the laws of karma. When men are motivated by the impulse for sense gratification, whatever money is earned is spoiled, being spent for the destruction of the human race. The energy of the human race is thus wasted by the laws of nature because of man's aversion to the Lord, who is actually the proprietor of all energies and all money. Wealth is worshipped and is referred to as Mother Lakshmi, or the goddess of fortune. It is her position to serve Lord Narayana, the source of all naras, or living beings. The naras are also meant to serve Narayana under the guidance of the goddess of fortune. The living being cannot enjoy the goddess of fortune without serving Narayana, and therefore whoever desires to enjoy her wrongly will be punished by the laws of nature. These laws will make certain that the money itself will bring about destruction instead of peace and prosperity. Unlawful accumulated money is now being snatched from miserly citizens by various methods of state taxation for the future civil and international war fund, which is spending money in a wasteful and destructive manner. The citizens are no longer satisfied with just enough money to maintain a family nicely and cultivate spiritual knowledge, both of which are essential in human life. Now, everyone wants money unlimitedly to satisfy insatiable desires in proportion to the people's unlawful desires. There accumulated money is taken away by the agents of illusory energy in the shape of medical practitioners, lawyers, tax collectors, societies, constitutions, so-called holy men, famines, earthquakes, and many similar calamities. One miser who hesitated to purchase a copy of Back to Godhead spent $2,000 for a week's supply of medicine, and then he died. Another man who refused to spend a cent for the service of the Lord wasted thousands of dollars in a legal suit between the members of his home. There are innumerable similar instances occasioned by the dictation of illusory nature. Indeed, that is the law of nature. If money is not devoted to the service of the Lord, it must be spent as spoiled energy in the form of legal problems or diseases. Foolish people do not have the eyes to see such facts. Therefore, the laws of the Supreme Lord befool them. The laws of nature do not allow us to accept more money than is required for proper maintenance. There is ample arrangement by the law of nature to provide every living being with his due share of food and shelter. But the insatiable lusts of human beings have disturbed the arrangement set forth by the Almighty Father, Krishna, of all species of life. By the arrangement of the Supreme Lord, there is an ocean of salt because salt is so necessary for the living being. God has, in the same manner, arranged for sufficient air and light, which are also essential. Anyone can collect any amount of salt from the natural storehouse, but constitutionally, we cannot take more salt than what we need. If we take more salt, we spoil the broth, and if we take less salt, our food becomes tasteless. On the other hand, if we take only what we require, our food is tasty and we are healthy. Presently, there is a great deal of concern over the fact that our natural resources are becoming polluted and exhausted. Actually, there is ample supply, but due to misuse and greed, everything is being spoiled. What conservationists and ecologists do not understand is that everything will continue to be spoiled by the insatiable lusts of mankind unless this Krishna consciousness process is taken up. It is impossible to have peace on any platform of existence without Krishna consciousness. Man is therefore suffering due to his insatiable desires and lusts. Not only is man suffering, but the planet on which he resides, his Mother Earth, represented in Srimad Bhagavatam by Mother Cow, is also suffering. Once a well-known Swami in India was asked whether God or Providence is responsible for the sufferings of humanity. The Swami replied that these sufferings were all God's pastimes or leelas. The questionnaire continued to ask why a living entity should be put under the dictations of the law of karma. The Swami could not answer these questions to the satisfaction of his inquirers. The monists and the impersonalists who think only in terms of the oneness of the living entities with the Supreme Lord cannot give satisfactory answers to such questions. Such an imperfect reply can hardly satisfy the heart of a living entity. The Lord is described in all scriptures as Lila Purushottama, or the personality of Godhead, who is by his own nature always engaged in transcendental pastimes. In the Vedanta Sutra, he is also described as Anandamaya Vyasat. The monists and the impersonalists try with great difficulty to explain this sutra in diverse ways in order to support their imperfect theory of oneness and impersonality. However, the fact remains that Ananda, pleasure, cannot be enjoyed alone. That variety is the mother of that variety is the mother of enjoyment is a well-known fact. Cities, for instance, are known to be attractive if they contain a variety of things. Living entities are naturally attracted by variety, by attractive streets, buildings, cinemas, parks, conveyances, businesses, employments, foodstuff, etc. Despite all this variety, the English poet Cowper once said, "The city is made by man, but the country is made by God." The countryside is also full of natural variegatedness in a crude form, whereas in the city, this variegatedness is displayed in a modernized, scientific manner. Poets like Cowper are attracted to the variegatedness of the country, and prosaic people who live in the city are attracted by the colorful varieties manufactured by men. In any case, it is variegatedness which attracts people both to the country and the city. This is the proper explanation of the verse of the Vedanta Sutra. Many so-called swamis who are so frequently attracted by the cities often seek a kind of pleasure in society and feminine friendship. Generally, they are not attracted by the natural beauty of the woods, although they may assume the dress of a man who is meant to live in the woods. Such swamis seek varieties of enjoyment in matter because they have no information of the variegatedness of spiritual life. On the one hand, they enjoy variegatedness in matter, and on the other, they deny spiritual variegatedness to the Absolute. Because they are pledged to the theory of monism and impersonalism, they deny that whatever pertains to matter can pertain also to spirit. According to them, spirit is the denial of matter. The fact is, however, that spirit is not a negation of matter, but matter is a perverted reflection of spirit. The real pleasure of variety exists in spirit without diluting relativity. On the other hand, inert matter, in association with dynamic spirit, manifests a false representation or a perverted reflection of that very spiritual variegatedness which is so adamantly denied by the monist class of so-called swamis. As stated before, the Supreme Lord is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha, joyful by nature, and therefore he expands himself by his different energies, parts, and differentiated and plenary portions. The Supreme Lord is the absolute truth, and he is one without a second. But he also includes his diverse energies, parts, and plenary portions, which are simultaneously one with and different from him. Because he is joyful by nature, he expands himself in diverse ways, and the activities of these expansions are called his transcendental pastimes or his leelas. These pastimes, however, are not blind and inert. They exhibit full sense, independence, and freedom of action and reaction. The complexities of the actions and the reactions of the diverse energies of the Absolute Truth constitute the subject matter of a vast science called the Transcendental Science of God. And the Bhagavad Gita is the ABC, or primary book of knowledge for students interested in that science. Every intelligent human being should become interested in this transcendental science. Indeed, according to the opinions of the sages, human life is only meant for learning this science. The opening words of the Vedanta Sutra proclaim, "Now is the time to inquire about Brahman." Well, Brahman means who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Human life by nature is full of suffering, and lower life forms are even more miserable. Any sane man with properly discriminating senses can understand that life in the material world is full of miseries, and that no one is free from the actions and reactions of such miseries. This is not a pessimistic view of life, but is an actual fact which should not be blind to. The miseries of life are divided into three categories, namely, miseries arising from the body and mind, miseries arising from other living entities, and miseries arising due to natural calamities. A sane man must look to eliminate these miseries and thereby become happy in life. We are all trying to achieve peace and freedom from these miseries, at least unconsciously, and in the higher intellectual circles, there are attempts to get rid of these miseries by ingenious plans and designs. But the power that baffles all the plans and designs of even the most intelligent person is the power of Maya's Devi, or the illusory energy. The law of karma, or the result of all actions and reactions in the material world, is controlled by this all-powerful illusory energy. The activities of this energy function according to principles and regulations, and they act consciously under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Everything is done by nature in full consciousness. Nothing is blind or accidental. And that's a very important statement. Most people think things are happening by accident. They don't understand that everything is actually being controlled by Krishna. This material energy is also called Durga, which indicates that it is a force which is very difficult to surpass. No one can surpass the laws of Durga by any amount of childish plans. To get rid of the sufferings of humanity is simultaneously a very difficult and also a very easy affair. As long as the conditioned souls, who are themselves bound up by the laws of nature, manufacture plans to get rid of the three miseries, there will be no solution. Three miseries: birth, death, old age, disease, like that. The only effective solutions are those mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and we have to adopt them in our practical lives for our own benefit. The three miseries of material nature are not found in the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. As mentioned before, he is eternally joyful, and his transcendental pastimes are not different from him. Because he is the absolute truth, his name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes are all identical with him. His pastimes, therefore, cannot be equated with the sufferings of humanity, as the so-called Swami contends. The pastimes of the Supreme Lord are transcendental to the actual miseries and sufferings of human beings. The sufferings of humanity are caused by the misuse of the discriminative power or the little independence which is given to individual souls. The fraudulent swamis, or mental speculators, in order to remain consistent with the theory of monism, must pass off the miseries of mankind as the pastimes of God. But actually, these miseries are only the enforced punishments of Maya Devi inflicted upon the misguided, conditioned souls. What is that? Where's that noise coming from? Huh? Yeah, turn it off. Turn it off. Yeah, see? Now we know where the culprit is. You got to turn it off. That's it. All right. Now. Haribol, Priya, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What a beautiful cow. We're very fortunate to have Priya. All right, I'm going to finish this. As living entities, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Indeed, we actually belong to His superior energy. As such, we may join His transcendental pastimes in our unconditioned state of life. But as long as we are conditioned by the laws of karma, in contact with the inferior energy, our sufferings and our own creations, born of a gross misuse of our little independence. The impersonalist monists only misguide people by contending that the threefold miseries are a part. Okay, go ahead. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. All right, we'll almost end. We'll nearly end here. The sufferings of humanity are caused by the misuse of the discriminative power or the little independence which is given to individual souls. See, everybody has limited free will, and it's limited to two possibilities. Either we surrender to Krishna or we don't surrender to Krishna. That is our limited free will. We only have two possibilities. Either we surrender to Krishna and have a spiritual life, or we don't surrender to Krishna and we become subjected to Maya. Most people don't realize that, but most people are under the control of Maya in the world. It's very few people that are completely dedicated to Krishna. So everybody has these two possibilities. But most people choose to be under the control of Maya. And because of that, they unnecessarily suffer. That should be our takeaway tonight. We have to understand we have two decisions. Either we come under the tutelage of Krishna, or we come under the control of Maya. If we accept Krishna, we become liberated. If we accept Maya, we'll always be what you would call controlled by her illusory energy. So we should think about this very seriously. If we are under the control of Maya, more or less all the decisions that we make in our life will be wrong. But if we come under the desire to serve Krishna, then Krishna will protect us He'll protect us from making mistakes. He'll protect us in every other way in order to have a peaceful and happy life. So I'll end right there. That's what this basically is saying. We have two decisions. Either we surrender to Maya or we surrender to Krishna. You surrender to Maya, you will always be miserable. You surrender to Krishna, you will always be happy. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any questions or comments? Questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Is it permanent? Is that what you're asking? That's a very, very good question. Thank you very much. We have to validate every day to be under the control of Krishna, not Maya. Every day we wake up, we have a decision. Am I going to be in Maya today, or am I going to be in Krishna consciousness? It's not that you make a decision once, I'm going to be in Krishna consciousness. And every day we have to make our determination to follow Krishna consciousness. We should not think, well, I made that decision 20 years ago. No, we have to make that decision every day to follow Krishna consciousness. Sometimes people say, oh, I'm so tired today, I'm not going to wake up early, I'll sleep in. That means that that person comes under the control of Maya. So every day we have to follow Krishna's instructions, and especially going to sleep early and waking up early every day to chant 16 good rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and follow all the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. We have to make that promise every day. We have to make that culture work every day. It's not that we make a decision once in the past. No. In the present, we have to reiterate that surrender to Krishna. That way, Krishna will guide us through all the difficulties of life if we continually validate our desire to be Krishna conscious every day. Okay? What are you going to do tomorrow morning? There you go. Okay, it's that simple, right? We have to surrender to Krishna every day, you know. That way, we don't make any mistakes. If you think, oh, I don't have to surrender to Krishna. I surrendered to him 20 years ago. That's enough. No. You have to surrender every day, every minute, every second, every nanosecond. You know, we have to surrender to Krishna. That is our life. Our real life is surrender to Krishna. And Krishna likes that. He sees that you're very serious when you take such strong determination to follow his instructions every day. Haribol. Okay, that's our takeaway for today. If we just do that, we won't have any problems in life. You know. Hare Krishna. Are there any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? Music. Okay, go ahead. Who said that? Well, if we follow Srila Prabhupada, we simply chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's what Prabhupada chanted. That means we should chant that way. I don't know what these other people were chanting, but it sounds like they were chanting different melodies, right? So always remember this. If you simply follow what Prabhupada did, you never make a mistake. So Prabhupada didn't use those, let's say, songs or those rhythms or those different things that you heard in other places. He just chanted simply Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. See, that's simple. That makes life simple. Simply follow what Prabhupada did. Then you won't have any problems. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank him for coming and saving us from deviating, making new melodies and new philosophies and so forth. Just follow what Prabhupada did.